Tonight, Speaker of the House Andy Daniel laments the behavior of parliamentarians during the marathon debate on the no-confidence motion brought by the opposition. The Education Minister details plans to address student possession of guns. And former CARICOM Ambassador Earl Huntley weighs in on the government's stance on Venezuela's internal politics. We have the details coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovely and Amy Joseph.
Good evening. It is Wednesday, the 30th of January 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News. I am Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Following the marathon debate in the House of Assembly, which saw discussions of a no-confidence motion on Tuesday, Speaker of the House Andy Daniel is expressing his concern about the behavior of parliamentarians who took part in the debate. Their behavior, he says, is not a good look for the rest of the world watching.
Speaker of the House Andy Daniel is concerned over the general parliamentary behavior which takes place all too often during House sittings and said the rest of St. Lucia should also be concerned. The Speaker sat with members of the press on Wednesday morning, mere hours after a marathon debate in the House, where a no-confidence motion discussion on Tuesday morning continued on into the early hours of Wednesday morning. A vast portion of the debate was interrupted by outbursts between both sides of the floor, jeering at each other or making comments deemed unconstitutional in the House altogether. Daniel said whilst this appears to be a growing trend around the world, the purpose of the sittings should always be remembered and respected.
There seems to be this growing theatrics, you may want to call it, that you're not speaking to the speaker, really. You're speaking to an audience on the outside, and you try to react, or you try to portray yourself in Parliament the way you believe that your constituent expect you to behave. So I'm not surprised in the Senate it is quiet. You don't speak to your constituent, you speak to the entire country, so it's a little more calm in the Senate. The House, the lower house, completely different. You have constituents that you speak to them because you need their support. But generally I'm concerned about the behavior of our parliamentarians. I wish that I'm not asking anybody, and I've always said that. I have no issue with the crosstalk. I have no issue that I used to be a parliamentarian in opposition, so I know what the opposition is supposed to do or what I've done in opposition, so I have no issue with that. Just there are times when it just gets out of control and you really have to struggle to bring it back in.
Daniel said he understands the heat of the moment, as a no-confidence motion has and always will carry tense emotions for all involved.
In terms of pressure points, it was one of the most pressure points that I've experienced as Speaker of the House. I guess the moment, because the consequences of such a motion could have serious consequences for the country. So I guess the pressure, both from the government side and the opposition side, was very high. As Speaker, I have to be mindful of all the circumstances, including that, and try to preside as fair and open and to both sides. Like I said, you must also, because it is the motion of the minority, meaning the opposition, you must also take that into consideration to ensure that the opposition, the minority, is no way being denied the opportunity to have their voice be heard. And like I've always said in the Parliament, that is their duty.
When asked whether he would consider taking disciplinary action towards parliamentarians who continue to overstep the boundaries, the Speaker said this is a measure which is certainly on the cards.
Because of that motion of no confidence, I believe that our parliamentarians need to look at the entire parliamentary system that we find ourselves in. Our parliamentarians, I believe, see themselves simply as being in the House to look at legislation and not the wider picture of the wider ambit of parliamentary behavior and parliamentary procedures. So I believe there is need for that. I am considering now, how do you get, because nobody wants to be treated as if they're back at school. you do not want to be seen, and I have said that also, I do not want to be seen as trying to lecture anybody, but not just reading the standing orders, but I believe there is need now for parliamentarians to do a wider reading on the parliamentary procedure and practices.
Daniel said he has gotten very close to taking action against members of the House. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Alan Shasney is talking victory following the government's 11-6 win over the opposition for the no-confidence motion tabled in Parliament on Tuesday. The Prime Minister says he was fully confident of the win.
The island's Prime Minister is breathing a sigh of relief now that the no-confidence motion in him, tabled by the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party, is over and done with, and that it worked out in his favour. Prime Minister Alan Shasney said he thinks it is very sad that the SLP reached that position, as the proposition of an opposition party determining who the leader of the United Workers' Party is unethical. The only thing the motion was able to achieve, he indicated, was the stalling of attending to pressing matters involving the nation.
I'm very proud of my team and the manner in which they handled themselves and their delivery last night. I'm sorry that we were not able to get to the business of the people yesterday, and now we have to find ourselves back in the House today to be able to complete what we really had started off to do. So, you know, the work continues. The United Workers' Party is extremely determined on building a new St. Lucia. We've set out a very clear and ambitious plan that we want to be able to achieve.
Prime Minister Shasney said the motion was no sweat to him, as his confidence level in a win was at an all-time high.
Was there at any point any doubt in your mind, you know, at least one or two members from your side would have supported the motion?
No, never. I mean, I work with these guys every week, every day. And so I know how focused people are. I know their commitment to what we're trying to be able to achieve. And so at no point did I ever waver in that belief.
The PM said moving forward, he is going to continue to focus on building the nation, high ambitions and all.
Something came up yesterday, and it really reminded me again of a speech that I gave. I was at the Grosley Secondary School. When I spoke about we can develop a St. Lucia in which I genuinely believe that St. Lucians will not need a visa to go to the United States of America. That's an ambition. It's an overall arching goal. And there are other countries in the world that have achieved it, but they've achieved it by raising the standard of their country and becoming productive societies. One in which there isn't poverty in your country, one in which nobody questions as to whether a St. Lucian is going to want to stay at home. And that is the ambition of the United Workers' Party. That is what we are focusing on and delivering. And so all of this rhetoric and this noise that's taking place that is clearly motivated from a different place is not what we're going to be focusing on. And I think that my team delivered that message yesterday, one in which it dispels this idea that this party is one person.
The UWP, he said, is thousands of people, ordinary and business alike, and he is very proud to be a part of it. The PM expressed much gratitude to his colleagues as well as the people of St. Lucia for their support. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Now, the leader of the opposition, Philip J. Pierre, is walking with his head held high despite losing his party's no-confidence motion against the island's Prime Minister Alan Shasney. Pierre says the purpose of the motion has been fulfilled.
Opposition leader Philip J. Pierre is feeling vindicated and happy with the St. Lucia Labour Party's no-confidence motion in the island's Prime Minister Alan Shasney, despite its loss of 11-6 in the final vote. In the end, he said, truths were revealed about the United Workers' Party, which he is sure will be impactful and eye-opening to the people of the nation in the near future. Pierre laughed off the idea that he was confident in a win for the motion. However, he said the SLP's fight is on the streets and not in the House of Assembly.
It was a defeated motion. I think we did not win the war, but we won the battle. Because the entire nation saw why Alan Shasney should not be Prime Minister. You may recall the effort that the government put in not wanting that motion to come into Parliament is tremendous. But I'm going to read to you Standing Order number 21. And here's what it reads. Subject to Section 48 of the St. Lucia Constitution Order, and to these standing orders, any member may propose by way of motion any matter of debate for debate in the House. Section 21 of the standing orders. So the idea that motion should not come is ludicrous.
Pierre said the no-confidence motion struck fear within the UWP government, which worked as a clear indicator that the party is not as cohesive as it is portrayed to be.
It's a government that was scared. It was a government that was unsure. It was a prime minister who did not know what his other men would have said, because he knows very well that there is discontent in the ranks, that his men, some of them are not satisfied with him, so he was scared. That is why they spent the entire Monday trying not to allow the motion to come forward. But I'm pleased. We did very well. The people of St. Lucia know what we stand for. They realize that Alan Chastanet is not the right person to be Prime Minister of St. Lucia, and we are going to fight on, we're going to struggle on, nothing will stop us.
The opposition leader went on to show proof of one of the many examples which he claims illustrates why the UWP government has to go.
You may recall that yesterday I made the point that there was a minister in the government whose wife had some involvement in a company called CHTTI. I have the document in front of me, and it reads, consent to act as a director. And you see the document, I can give it to you, and you find out for yourself who are the people who have signed that document. See it for yourself. I want to ask you, who are the people who have signed that document? I won't call any names, I want you to see it for yourself. So that misinformation that passes for truth in the House must stop. So you can take it for yourself, and you will see, and if ask yourself, who is the person who signed that document? And you will see, what's the relationship to that person, to a minister? And really, if a minister's wife was not involved in CHTTI.
Pierre revealed that come Thursday, the 7th of February, the SLP will take their motion to the streets, where they will display their dissatisfaction with the Alan Chastanet administration along the Castries Market steps with the people of the nation. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Education Minister Dr. Gail Brigobert reveals that her ministry is working closely with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force to get to the bottom of two separate incidents involving secondary school students caught carrying firearms. Dr. Rigobert says new policies will be implemented to ensure that the problem is nipped in the bud.
Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert has been briefed by the Chief Education Officer about the matter of a secondary school student coming to school with a gun. She has expressed her concern. Asked whether she had spoken with the principal at the center of the matter, the minister says there was no need to, as per protocol.
I have spoken with the district education officer and with other sister agencies involved in this.
With the principal?
No, I have not spoken with the principal. I'll say to you, there is no reason for a minister to engage with any principal for those issues. That is why you have a management structure. So I was briefed by my chief education officer, who is the person directly responsible for school supervision, and upon receiving the report and activating the necessary protocols of engagement, then what needs to happen will unfold. But it is not that everything that happens that the minister runs to the school. This is serious enough, especially in the cases that you have highlighted, to ensure that the protocols are followed and that the minister is briefed and facilitates the necessary engagement with agencies that together can help to resolve a situation.
She says her department has sprung into action on the issue of gun possession by students. The Education Department and sister agencies are collaborating to ensure that the problem is brought under control and eradicated within the school system.
On Monday, we had a very comprehensive meeting with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force and the Minister Herman Gill. You will appreciate that some of these matters are being handled by the police, and so I am very limited in what I can say with respect to the undertaking by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, except to share with you that we continue to collaborate with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force to train and better equip our watchmen or security officers in the schools. The recent incidents have prompted us to revise the protocols of engagement among the various agencies. That's when an incident such as happened at Dennery or Corinth would occur, that it is obvious to any of the persons involved what the next steps are, and not just the next steps, what the appropriate steps are.
Dr. Rigobert says a subsequent meeting is carded for sometime around the 7th of February with stakeholders including the National Principals Association and the Chief Education Officer. Further, based on the school's vulnerability list, she says schools will be equipped with requisite security systems. The goal is to activate multiple interventions to enhance security at schools for all.
You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us. There's much more coming up after the break.